Hello and welcome back to the Airtime Rush YouTube channel. My name's Jordan, and in today's video we are going to continue to look back at the lost rides and attractions of the UK. This is part 3, so if you missed part 1 and part 2, make sure you check it out. I will leave them linked down below in the description. In the last video we ended on speaking about Oakwood Theme Park, and since then Oakwood has sadly closed its doors for good. We don't know what the future holds for the site, but I'm hoping that someone saves Megaphobia, the park's CCI wooden coaster. But in this episode we're going to cover 3 more parks, including Flamingo Land, Drayton Manor, and the American Adventure. Starting off in Yorkshire at Flamingo Land, this park is currently home to 9 coasters, but in its past it's had many more, including the classic and very rare Bullet Coaster. This ride opened at the park in 1991 and was a Schwarzkopf shuttle coaster. It stood on the spot where Kumali now stands. It was a very big coaster, standing at a whopping 131 feet and reaching speeds of 50 mph. The train sat on a slanted piece of track in the station, and guests were launched backwards, before passing through the station and around through a loop that wrapped around the station itself, before reaching another spike and traversing the layout again backwards. The ride wasn't anything too thrilling, but the layout was very unique and looked awesome off-ride. The coaster closed in 2005 to make way for Kumali, the park's 2006 Vekoma SLC, which is actually one of the better SLCs out there. Bullet still operates over in Mexico, at the Selva Magica theme park. Staying at Flamingo Land, our next coaster is yet another Schwarzkopf roller coaster, named Magnum Force, which opened in 2000. The ride was 108 foot and reached speeds of 53 mph. The main draw to this coaster was the iconic 3 loops that sat at the front of the ride. It was the world's first roller coaster to feature 3 vertical loops. Magnum Force was located near Bullet, the park's other Schwarzkopf coaster. Both closed in 2005. Kumali mainly used up the Bullet's plot of land, and the land where Magnum Force once stood is still in use by the park. It's a shame that both coasters left the park at the same time, but it was during the time that the park was moving more into the theme park category. Now let's move to the Midlands and look back at Drayton Manor's past, which in current years has lost so many attractions, mainly due to them moving into a more family friendly park. But let's start off with the most loved ride, Apocalypse. This giant drop tower opened in 2000, and was manufactured by Intamin and stood at a whopping 177 feet. The tower had 4 sides, 1 and 2 were sit down and 3 and 4 were stand up. In 2002 the ride was partially rebuilt to accommodate a 5th side of the tower, and featured a world's first stand up floorless element. You could see the tower whilst driving up to the park, and it was extremely intimidating. I've done a few drop towers, and this one is definitely the scariest one I've ever done, and it packed such a punch. Riders would reach the top of the tower before being held and dropped at a speed of 50 mph, and falling 54 meters in just 4 seconds. Unfortunately in 2019, each of the towers started closing until only 2 were left in operation. The park did try to fix the other towers, but it would cost far too much. In 2020, the park was sold to the Lupins Group, who wanted to make the park more family friendly, and in 2022, the park announced that the ride would close at the end of the season. Apocalypse officially closed on the 30th of October 2022, and the UK lost its best ever drop tower. Drayton Manor was once home to a very popular dark ride, Pirate Adventure, which sits in the middle of the park in a huge castle themed building. Opening in 1990, Pirate Adventure was an indoor boat ride that included 1 drop, and was the UK's answer to Pirates of the Caribbean. The ride features various pirates themed scenes, including a village being destroyed by a pirate crew, a full-on sea battle featuring pirate boats, and a spooky cave full of skeletons and treasure. Even though it was a clear copy of Pirates of the Caribbean, it was very well done. The ride sadly closed in 2015 due to the high cost of maintenance and the ride's deteriorating condition. The new owners of Drayton have done a great job in bringing old rides back to life, including reopening the rapids and changing Shockwave from a stand-up coaster to a sit-down. So could we see them spending the money on reopening this classic dark ride? I definitely hope so. This next ride we're going to cover wasn't anything special, but it was definitely iconic. That ride being the Klondike Goldmine Coaster, which was a standard Pinfari Zyklon that opened in 1995. The thing that made this coaster iconic was its excellent theming. It was themed to, you guessed it, a gold mine, but it was all very well done. The coaster was very uncomfortable and featured a single loop. The whole ride area was themed with lots of different buildings and huts. By the mid-2000s the ride was definitely past its best and closed in 2004. The plot of land that the ride once stood on wasn't empty for long, and in 2005 a new coaster would open, that coaster being our next ride on the list, the very iconic and very strange G-Force. G-Force was a Mara X car coaster which featured a crazy inverted lift hill. The lift was a large inversion that the car would go up slowly by a chain, By the time the riders were at the top, they would be suspended upside down before being released through the rest of the layout. To make things even scarier, the trains featured a strange lap bar. The vertical lift hill used to scare a lot of the public, and in 2017, a train got stuck upside down on the inverted lift hill for a few hours. Luckily, no one was injured and the passengers were treated. The coaster looked great off-ride, but was very uncomfortable. It featured 3 inversions, and one of them being the lift. The coaster experienced lots of downtime during the 2018 season, and at the end of the year, it was announced that the coaster would be retired. The park said that the ride cost too much to maintain, and the constant breakdowns made the park's decision easier. The ride was left standing when operating until 2020, until it was finally removed. The coaster is now in storage in the Netherlands, and as of 2024, is currently for sale for nearly €700,000. Anybody fancy buying it? Now we are moving on to another defunct theme park. This time it's the American Adventure theme park that used to be located in Derby. This park was very much like Camelot, but instead of being themed to knights, it was themed to the American Old West. The most iconic ride at this park was the giant log flume, named Nightmare Niagara. It was originally the UK's tallest log flume when it opened in 1987. In 1990, the park added a third drop to the ride, making it the world's largest triple drop log flume. The ride was very well themed, and one of the drops was themed inside a large mountain that also housed the park's mine train coaster. Moving into the 2000s, the park started moving away from heavy theming, and away from its American theme, and most of the theming on the log flume was removed, which definitely took away from the ride experience. The ride closed in 2004 and was scrapped in 2005. The park decided to replace Nightmare Niagara with a small pay-to-play attraction, and this was definitely the downfall of the park. The final ride in today's video will be the American Adventure's first major thrill coaster, that being the Missile, a Vekoma boomerang coaster that was themed to, space, and was located in a new area called Spaceport USA. The ride opened in 1989 and was officially opened by Apollo 11 lunar module pilot Buzz Aldrin. The coaster received mixed reviews from the public, some calling it rough and some pointing out that it didn't fit in with the park's theme at all. Despite all the negative feedback, it was still one of the UK's major thrill coasters. The ride closed in 2004, along with a few other rides that were standing but not operating for the 2005 season, before moving to Pleasurewood Hills and reopening in 2007, under the new name Wipeout. As of 2025, Wipeout is the UK's only Vekoma thrill boomerang left. It's very sad to see parks like American Adventure close. It seems like once a park gets rid of its most popular rides, the end is very near, and that was definitely the case with the American Adventure. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe as the final part of this series is coming very soon, where I'm going to cover Alton Towers, Thorpe Park and Chessington. Let me know what your favourite retired ride is down below in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.